I don't remember movies because of a good line. I remember movies because of a strong image. Pure image and sound, that is the power of cinema. The direction that Dune 2 takes can be summarized by this quote from director Denis Villeneuve. The second part of this current adaptation, based off the sci-fi epic by Frank Herbert, has had a major impact on both movie theater going and movie discourse over its opening weekend. The first film was released in less than ideal conditions before a part 2 was even announced. With moviegoers still hesitant to return to the theaters in fall of 2021, HBO Max, now just known as Max, released Dune 1 on its streaming service the same day as its theatrical debut. Despite that, it still made back a decent box office and picked up 10 Oscar nominations, ensuring that we would see at very least a part 2. And oh boy, did they make a part 2. It's difficult to summarize all my emotions surrounding this theatrical experience. The best way I can describe it is epic. Villeneuve is not messing around when he talks about the power of cinema. Every aspect of this film, from the camera shots, the lighting, the way this film even distinguishes shadows and darker scenes, the color palette, special effects, the imagination to fill in the gaps of details maybe the book didn't include. It works flawlessly as a visual medium, prioritizing that experience while allowing the text and dialogue to serve as an additional experience. Now, I tend to be someone who typically struggles to understand and even follow or care about lore when it comes to sci-fi or even fantasy, but this is told in such a simple way that it's easy to follow with these broad strokes of storytelling, even if you're stupid like me and will require multiple rewatches upon many breakdowns explaining every single detail that happens. But I think what helps this film so much is the politics, and the overarching theme is timeless, and I can imagine how effective it was when this book was first released in the 60s. The central conflict involving war and politics is one that you can easily point to current examples in our culture, but I think what makes this so great is that it would work in any sort of historical context you're watching this in, because I guarantee you in the next 20 to 30 years we will have another major global conflict that may reflect a lot of the politics involved in this film. And as far as all that deep Dune lore goes, there's definitely enough in here for those who want to dig deeper into this world. And as I said earlier, I'm usually not one that is interested in that sort of thing, but this film has made me want to go deeper into this universe. And I would honestly be surprised if anyone walked away from this film not wanting to learn more about it. As if the cast of the first film wasn't stacked enough, this one really outdoes itself, utilizing both existing A-list actors as well as what I would describe as the next generation of A-list actors, specifically the combination of Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh. These are all names that are larger than their on-screen personas and are practically household names at this point. And so for all of them to exist within this universe together, it really feels like something special. The risk, however, with casting so many individuals with a high profile is if you can be lost within their character and not just view them as their real life persona. But I was very pleased that this was not an issue at all, as each of their performances, along with literally every other actor in this film, they each conveyed such a variety of emotions, bringing something unique to each of their characters. With all that said, what really sold me on this being a masterpiece was how nuanced the ending ended up being. It allows you as the viewer to insert your own interpretation of the morality of the decisions that these characters make. And that's as vague as I can be without spoiling exactly how this film ends, but it isn't necessarily a clear-cut good versus evil. There are decisions that our protagonists make that allow us to step back and reflect on how good or bad we actually think they are. And honestly, one of my favorite themes that I took from this is the way that we take certain people and idolize them. The balance between loyalty and worship, mixing in science and religion, and all sorts of bad decisions that we as humans can make, what that says about us as a culture. These are all just the tip of the iceberg of what this film made me process. I unfortunately can't speak to the themes of the book or even compare and contrast the liberties that this adaptation took, but like I said earlier, it is something that piqued my interest, so I am looking into it, and I love hearing opinions from people that experienced the book first. Either way, if you're someone that wants to dig really deep into sci-fi lore, this film is for you. If you're more of a casual moviegoer who wants to experience one of the greatest modern blockbusters with all the visuals and style on the big screen, this film is also for you. Basically, I would highly recommend this film to anyone, and I would love to hear your thoughts if you've seen it. Please comment below and let me know what you think.